Greetings to all and a warm welcome to our latest live webcast, From Order to License, Automating SAP-Driven Software Delivery. We're thrilled you've decided to join us for this enlightening masterclass. With each episode, we provide new highlights, technical tips, and success stories that will leave you inspired and ready to get your protection, licensing, and security techniques another step closer to perfection. At WIBU-SYSTEMS, we empower software publishers and intelligent device manufacturers with cutting-edge technologies, new business models, and tailor-made consulting training. Let us help you upgrade, optimize, and automate your entire license lifecycle management so you can focus on monetizing your business at a higher level. My name is Daniela Previtali, Global Marketing Director at WIBU-SYSTEMS, and I'm delighted to have you here with us today. We are joined by Rüdiger Kögler, VP Professional Services and Security Expert from the headquarters of WIBU-SYSTEMS, and Harry Ritzelmeier, CTO at Informatics Holding. To give you a roadmap for today's session, here is what we'll be covering. SAP-driven business processes and software licensing often run in parallel, creating manual effort and operational friction. This webinar shows how SAP S/4HANA can be integrated with CodeMeter License Portal to automate license and subscription creation, withdrawal, replacement, cancellation, immediate activation in SIM cloud containers, and master data synchronization. Practical examples from WIBU-SYSTEMS and our solution partner Informatics illustrate how manufacturers can connect ERP, licensing, and digital delivery in scalable workflows. Before we dive into the content, let's quickly address a few housekeeping items. For all of you tuning in today, we set aside a special segment at the end of the session exclusively for Q&A. We warmly encourage you to drop your questions into the live chat box as they come to mind. If we can't get to your question during the live discussion, rest assured we'll make it a priority to engage with you individually at a later time to address your queries. This session is being recorded, and a link to the on-demand replay will be sent straight to your inbox within the next couple of days. This way, you can revisit the insights shared today at your leisure. And don't forget, stick around for the entire live session and seize the opportunity to win an invaluable 4 hours of personalized CodeMeter consultation with our industry-leading experts. As the webinar concludes, a new browser tab will automatically open, presenting you with a quick quiz. We'll randomly select a lucky winner from those who answer correctly and make the big announcement when we release the webinar replay. Kindly note that if you win, you'll be ineligible for any other prize draws we host in 2026. Be also aware that this brief questionnaire includes additional questions aimed at gauging the quality of this masterclass. While these questions are optional, your valuable feedback will empower us to enhance the quality of our offerings and tailor our online events more precisely to meet your specific needs. And now, without any more delay, I'm delighted to hand over the reins to Rüdiger. The stage is all yours.
Yeah, thank you, Daniela, for the introduction. My name is Rüdiger Kögler, and together with my colleague Henry Ritzelmeier, we will show you in the next 50 minutes how to integrate CodeMeter License Central and License Portal together with SAP to make license delivery as easy as possible. I'm really happy that Henry is joining us. Henry is from our partner company Informatics, located in Austria, and we did a lot of SAP integration projects in the meantime together. And I hope we can share a lot of information about concrete pitfalls and do's and don'ts of the integration. What we will show today, we will show how to create a license or create an order, and by creating a license by creating an order. We will discuss about withdrawing or canceling an order. So what happens if the customer says, I don't want the license, this is the wrong license, or the customer doesn't pay for the license. Another use case is to changing a license or replacing a license, upgrades, downgrades, renewals of subscriptions, and so on. Then we have a lot of information about subscription. Subscription is a very hot topic, and so in the last 5 years, more and more software developers, software publishers are going to subscription, not with their complete portfolio, but trying to do this with at least new portfolio. There are some use cases where subscriptions make sense. There are some use cases like offline devices where subscription is not the, let's say, the top option today. And so let's speak about different subscription types and how you can integrate this into SAP. And last but not least, we have a few words about instance activation and the synchronization of the master data. Before we start with the SAP integration, a short overview of the CodeMeter ecosystem. So we have a leading system on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we speak of the protected and licensed software. And to ship the license from the mainstream system to the protected software, we have a license creation, license management, license entitlement system. And we have, of course, a license storage. And all of the systems could be either on-premise or could be in the cloud. And today we speak of SAP integration. That's why we will take a look at the leading system, SAP. For license creation and license management, we have 2 products which can be used in combination, which is CodeMeter License Central, which is a very strong backend for automatic processes for license creation, license programming, and license portal, which has the customizable workflows, a customizable user interface so that it can adapt it to your processes and to your needs. On the right-hand side, CodeMeter can be used with nearly every type of software as a service, mobile applications, on-premise applications running in virtual machines in the cloud. And typically, the user has either a browser or software activation wizard to manage the licenses. So, and as license storage, we have containers in the cloud, like the CodeMeter Cloud Container, CodeMeter Cloud Light Container. We have on-premise containers like the CodeMeter Dongle, like the CodeMeter Act license, the CM Act license, which is bound to some properties of the computer. And as mentioned, today we speak about SAP integration. So all stuff is triggered from SAP to License Central. Then License Central will use as License Portal, and License Portal will then use License Central as the backend. So if a license is created, SAP speaks with the portal. Portal creates the license and license backup, License Central, and delivers the activation code. We call this the ticket back to SAP. Now the ticket is sent to the user, and then the user goes to the browser, goes to the license portal, activates the license. Depending on your options, you can choose between maybe the dongle, maybe the cloud license, maybe not cloud light. So this depends on your settings. And after the activation, the software can be used independently from the activation with the activated license in the container. And typically, SaaS applications and mobile applications will use a CodeMeter Cloud Light container. On-premise applications can use CodeMeter Cloud, dongles, or CM Act licenses, and on-premise applications in the cloud are typically using a cloud container. So this is just a rough overview so that you see what is the whole ecosystems, and today we will speak about the integration of SAP. CodeMeter License Portal has a REST-like API which can be used by SAP. The focus today is SAP S/4HANA. And of course, there are other SAP scenarios available on request. But maybe, Henry, you can say a little bit more about the SAP and what we will show today.
Yeah, so hello everybody, my name is Henry Retzelmeier. I'm from Informatics, CTO at Informatics, and what we will see today, or the focus of today, is of course SAP S/4HANA. I guess most of you have already done the migration from R3 to S4. Some might be in the middle of the migration, and so anyhow, the future is S/4HANA. So everybody will be on S/4HANA in short or either a long term. The other SAP scenarios which Rüdiger mentioned are basically based on R3. Most of those scenarios which are running on S4HANA are also running on R3. There are just some small bits and pieces what is from the process point of view not available within R3, which is only available with S4. But the usual use cases like creating licenses, managing licenses, withdrawing, and also subscription, what we will see later on, is of course also available within R3.
Okay, and I think with this, let's go to the first use case, to creating licenses and creating an order. Before Henry will show you the live demo, I can tell you a little bit what happens in the background. So of course, when the license is created, then the license gets delivered via the Kubernetes license portal, and there are two options. One is that the license is delivered to a user. So in this case, the user can log into the portal and see the license as assigned to him, or the license can be delivered to a group. And in this case, all administrators of the group has access to the license, and then administrator can or should need to assign a license to a user before the license can be used. Both options are valid workflows, and so both options can be used. So when we speak of creating a license, the order is created. Then we search for the group, either the group where the user is located to or where the license should be delivered. In the next step, searching for the user, if it should be delivered for a user. And then, of course, creating the license and assigning the license to the group, and then assigning the license to the user if it is needed. So depending on which of the two workflows you have chosen. So, and for doing this, I show some technical information. There's an endpoint do get group for create license. And in this case, we have some input data, which is the buyer ID. So typically the ID of your customer, of the company in SAP. Parent ID is something which is in most use cases a constant value, so that you say every new customer should be created in subgroup 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then later on it will be sorted out to the right group where it belongs to. If you have a huge SAP system with different country organizations, and you know already this customer belongs to Austria, this customer belongs to the US, then you can check or can give the parent ID, which is then the ID of the country organization, and then the customer will be automatically created already inside of this country. So the parent ID could be either a fixed value or could be a value depending maybe on the country where the customer is located. Then, of course, we have the name of the customer, we have a description, and additionally, we can store customized data, additional data. So if you want to store some additional information in a license portal, it's possible, but typically additional information are stored in SAP. That's why customized data is, I would say, a rare use case. This data is sent to our endpoint. Inside of our logic, business logic, we will check, does the group exist with this buyer's ID? And if yes, then we return the group object. Important is the ID in the group object. And if no, then we will take the data here. We will use this data which is handed over to us. We will create a group with this name, so a customer with this name. We will use the buyer's ID. We will put it to the right parent. And if there are description or customized data, we will put them in the prepared fields. And then also we will return the group object to SAP. And so this is one option where we say we need to have the group, or the second option, if we want to deliver to a user. In this case, we have the same group data, and we have additionally some user data, like the email address of the user, so the ship to mail typically. The login methods, which are typically either login via username password, or you log in via your SSO, single sign-on. And of course, also there are customized data fields available, but typically, if you're using SAP, you have this data in SAP, so you don't need to have it in the license portal as duplicated data. So this is then sent to our endpoint. We check, does the ship to email address exist? So does this user already exist? If yes, we return the user object. By the way, the ID of the user is the important stuff. If it does not exist, we check, does a group exist with this buyer ID? if no group exists, then we will create a group with the data, as we did before with the do IP get group for create license. Oops, wrong button. If the group exists, then we will create a user inside of the group, or if the group does not exist, we will create a group and then create a user, and then of course we will assign the user to the group, and then the user ID or user object will be returned back to SAP. So we have now either a group or we have now a user, or we have both, and we know these are the ship to information. And now the important information or the important endpoint is the do create license to. And so we have the group ID from the group object, and we have the order data like the item ID, so which license should be created or which template should be used, which article, item, product, material should be used for to create a license. Are there some additional features, so modules that should be activated, deactivated? Are there some options? For instance, if this is a subscription, which is the end date of the subscription, there are some additional fields like customer ID and order ID, just to look for this also in the portal. Typically, this data is stored in SAP, but we found out that maybe these are some data or some information where your employees are looking for in the portal, and that's why we decided to have special data fields for this. And there's a type, so you could define, is this a perpetual license, is this a subscription, is this a trial license, or something like this. So now this data is sent to CodeMeta License Central. So we create a license inside License Central. Then we assign the ticket to the group, and we return the ticket object, which means this is the ID of the ticket. So which is in 25 digits and something like A, B, C, D, E, minus F, G, and so on. And there is an internal ID of the license itself, which is the ticket license ID, which identifies, or which is a unique identifier for the license. So, and if it should be assigned to a user, there is the optional call of assign ticket to user. In this case, we have assignment data like the user ID, the group ID, of course, the ticket from the ticket object. So you remember we got the three information: user object, group object, ticket object from the previous calls. There could be a description, there could be some customized data. So also here we have customized data fields. The ticket is assigned to the user, and then we simply return an OK. So and this is what happens under the hood with our endpoint. And if you are asking why are there so many different endpoints, could we put everything in one endpoint? Yes, we could have done this, but it might be easier if some problem occurs that SAP has some more information where the problem occurs, and that SAP could retry everything starting from the point where the error occurs. And that's why we decided to have smaller steps so that it's easier to reconnect or to redo everything if something went wrong. And with this, I think, Henry, it's time for a short demonstration how to do this. And I will share, or you should share your screen. Put this, now it's up to you.
Okay, thank you, Rüdiger. This sounded all very complicated, what you just described. The good part is that from the end user point of view, from the user who is working within SAP, you don't see any of this. This is all behind the scenes. This is all within customizing. So within the customizing, we do the connection between the groups and the end users and all the stuff like this. I will show you in this demo how to create the sales order and how a license is created in the background without any user intervention. So what you can see here is an SAP Fiori Launchpad. We are working on an S/4HANA system. And on the second tab, I have the CodeMeta license portal open for the customer with the small number 6. We can see here we have no licenses here, so the customer has no licenses at all at this time. So what we're going to do is now we create a sales order. It's a standard sales order, nothing special. The only thing we have to do is assign a sold to party, which is our customer with the number 6. a small reference, like we want to send a license. The next thing we have to fill out is, of course, material number. So we have prepared here two material numbers, one with a permanent license or perpetual license, and later on we will see the same thing with a subscription license. The system now goes to the next screen with this, which is the configuration. What you can see here is characteristics value assignment. This doesn't have to be necessary, or this is not necessary, so you don't have to have the characteristics or the configuration, but just to show you that this is also a possibility to change some options or to define some options within the license, depending on the licensing system. For us right now, we just go to the next screen, and that's basically it. We have our order ready, everything is filled out. So what we could do is here save, but I do a little shortcut here. I'm not only saving the document or the order, I'm also delivering right now. Within the delivery, we connected CodeMeter License Central, or to be more precise, we connected the portal. So when we save the delivery for this order we have just created, then all this magic, what Rüdiger just described with group assignment, user assignment, this will happen in the background. So I press the save button now. The system responds that the outbound delivery with the number 8:22 has been saved. And the next step is to check on the portal what has been changed. So I have to do a refresh here. And what we can see here, here is our first license. So we see a permanent license here, which has been created on the 24th of June this year. License is still available, so it's not activated, assigned, or anything like that. It's still available. And the license itself is within this particular ticket number. Rüdiger also described the back communication, so what we do with the response from the portal. Basically, what we do here, we can check that here. Let's get out here and display the sales order we have just created. We can see our sales order we have created. We can see within the document flow that we also created the delivery. And when we go into this delivery, here we can see that we have a serial number assignment. So this material has been serialized in the background for this particular license. And when we double click the serial number, we can see that this serial number is also extended to an equipment. So it's a full-blown equipment. And within the equipment, we have chosen here the sort field. We have this particular, which we just saw on the portal here within the SAP system. So the connection between SAP and the portal or the licenses is basically the equipment. And for the connection, we use the ticket ID. That's basically it. And as you could see, nothing special to do, just standard sales order creation, just standard delivery. All the magic happens in the background.
In the chat, we got already a question: which modules from SAP do I need to do this integration?
Well, as you probably can guess, we did a sales order and we did a delivery. So of course you need the module SD to address this type of process. And as you can still see on the screen, we are using an equipment. Equipment is within the module PM, plant maintenance, but you don't have to use plant maintenance process-wise. We are just using the object from plant maintenance. To be more precise, everything you could see within this demo runs with standard S4 or standard R3, so there are no special tweaks here. No special licenses, what you need, it's just the regular license and the regular modules which are shipped by SAP with the standard license.
So thank you very much. And I think we can go back to our presentation and take a look at the next use case. And if I'm clicking to the next use case, withdrawing a license or canceling an order. And so there are, of course, two different aspects of this. One aspect is what happens in SAP, and the second aspect is what happens in License Central and License Portal. And Henry, some words about SAP process, what to do when canceling or withdrawing an order or a license.
Well, that always depends on the business process itself. What we could see in the demo, we did an order and we did a delivery. So usually, if you want to return something, you do a return delivery. This is also the same for a virtual item, which a license basically is. It's the same as for a physical item, just you don't have to put it back on stock because it's just a virtual item. So the usual case is the return delivery. Depending on how far the business process within SAP has already run, there might be, it's already invoiced. So here you have two options within SAP, or two major options within SAP. You can either cancel the invoice or create a credit note. That also just depends on the business processes, and there is nothing special here with licenses. The only thing which is special is depending on the license itself. If this return is on a short term, so the license hasn't been activated, then it's pretty easy, because within the return delivery, we just withdraw the license on the portal and it's withdrawn immediately. But if the license has already been activated from the SAP point of view, there is no change. But within CodeMeter, that's a different story, I think. Rüdiger?
Yes, and that's why we have two use cases in terms of CodeMeter when withdrawing a license. Either the license is not yet activated, which means it's quite easy. We withdraw the license immediately. The license cannot be activated and it's hidden in the portal, so it could still be shown if needed, but it's no longer visible there. If the license is already activated or is currently activated, then we will mark it for withdrawal. And the next time when the container where the license is activated in does an update, we will automatically return the license or remove the license from this container. And so there is a life cycle. So it means when the withdrawal is requested, then the status of the license is withdrawal requested. As soon as an update to the container is delivered where the withdrawal is pre-calculated, we set it to withdrawal delivered, and when we get a receipt that the withdrawal is successfully done, it is done of withdrawal confirmed. And so these are the three steps: withdrawal requested, withdrawal delivered, withdrawal confirmed. And there's an additional module in the license portal, which we call the notification dispatcher, by the way, which will be part of one of the next webinars. And with the notification dispatcher, we can send back the information that a request was now successfully confirmed to SAP. And so if you want to, in SAP, it can be customized that the credit note is only created when the successfully withdraw confirmed message is sent from License Portal to License Central. Let's talk about the next use case, changing and replacing a license. So what are the use cases for this? So use cases is upgrading a license, of course, also downgrading a license, and or renewing a license in terms of a subscription. We will see later in our part of the subscription that there are multiple subscriptions, and if the ERP system and the contracts in the ERP system are used for the subscription management, then this replacing a license, replacing the old subscription with the old expiration date, with the new subscription with the new expiration date. This is the some of the stuff which can be done in or which can be done with changing or replacing a license. So the implementation, it's just a combination of the withdrawal and the creation of a license. So the old license or the old licenses are withdrawn, and the new license is created. And if the license was already deactivated or it's not activated, the old one, then it will be immediately removed, and the new license can be activated anywhere. And if the old license is activated, the new license needs to be activated where the old license is located, and then the old license will be removed automatically. And so there's one step where the licenses are exchanged in the background. But there are some questions which arise in SAP, especially the price calculation for replacement. And Henry, maximum 5 minutes. Please don't speak more about the price calculation.
Okay, we'll try. No, pricing can be really tough when we talk about replacement, and probably the pricing could fill a whole webinar on its own. So here just some small thoughts about it. So basically what we see out in the field when it comes to pricing for replacement, there are two major options. The first one is that within SAP, there is a special material created which just is the replacement or shows the replacement. And in this case, it's pretty easy because you only have to have this material and the price for this material, which just is the upgrade price from a standard edition to a professional edition or something like that. And the second option is doing the same thing with discounts and selling basically a professional edition with a discount because the customer has already a standard edition bought some time ago. It can get complicated if we are not talking about lot one. So if we talk about like customer bought 10 bits and pieces some months ago with standard edition and now wants to upgrade only 5 of them. But as said, this can be a little bit tough, and I don't want to get problems with Rüdiger too. So this should be it. Pricing can be tough, but there are solutions for this within SAP, like the one or the other.
Okay, so thank you very much. I knew that the pricing is a very hard topic, and especially there are multiple solutions for this. But let's now take a look at the technical stuff. So we have an endpoint to change license. And now we have the same input data for the order data that we had already in the previous call when we create a new license. So the item ID, modules, options, order comment, customer ID, and type. And additionally, we hand over the ticket ID and the ticket license ID. You remember this was the return object when we're creating a license and saying, okay, this is the license that we address, which we want to change. So, and then the old license gets withdrawn, the new license is created. And if the old license was not activated, then we immediately return the ticket ID, the ticket license ID, and the new license can be activated anywhere. And if the license gets bound to the CodeMeter container, then the new license can only be activated where the old license currently is activated. That's it for the replacement and changing of the license. And now we have reserved a few minutes about subscriptions. This is really a very, very interesting topic. And CodeMeter License Portal, CodeMeter License Central can handle 4 types of subscriptions. The fourth type, maybe it's not a real subscription, but something similar. So the first one is externally managed by maybe SAP. So there is an external system like SAP. There is some management in the SAP system which says, okay, we created the subscription. Now the subscription was renewed. It was renewed. It was renewed. And every time when the billing was done or the cancellation is over and the billing will be done, then SAP sends us the message, please renew the license. And then we use, of course, the change license API to replace the existing license with the old expiration date with a new license with the new expiration date. Typically, this is done when the software developer is using SAP or different subscription management system. So in this case, everything is handled outside of License Central and License Portal. Option 2. Option 2 is we can handle the subscriptions inside License Portal. So License Portal managed subscriptions. Then CodeMeter License Portal takes care of the subscription. And so the subscription gets created. The license gets renewed automatically in the background. So there's no trigger. So we simply do this every year until we get a cancellation. So that means instead of sending us the start and the renewals, like use case 1. In use case 2, we get a start and we get an end. And in between start and end, we handle everything internally. And this is a use case which is typically then done when there's no external system for handling subscriptions, because in SAP, you don't want to use this module, you don't have bought this module, you don't want to use an external system. You think License Portal can handle everything already for you. Typically, this is also done by smaller ISVs which don't have something like SAP in the background. And so both options are valid, and both options, by the way, can be integrated with SAP. Today, Henry will show you the first option with everything is handled in SAP. And the last two options, just a few words about this. Time contingents, this means we sell simply 30 days, 90 days, or 365 days for a user subscription, and then the user activates the license, and if there is already a license, it will be added to the existing subscription, and if there is no license or the license is expired, then a new subscription will be created. There's no automatic renewal of this time contingent, so it can be bought again and again and again. And the idea behind this time contingents is that you can be sold via multiple sales channels. It could be sold via online retailers, via offline retailers. It could be sold directly in your e-commerce system. And so the user can buy it today here, tomorrow maybe at a gasoline station, and then just gets the ticket and enters the ticket, and everything is fine. And so this is let's say, the advantage of this time contingents, that you can sell them anywhere, and quite easy, quite simple. And last but not least, the checkpoint license. The checkpoint license typically is used for internal usage. So this is very similar like the license portal managed subscription, but it doesn't have a fixed time frame, like it ends at the end of the year and will be renewed by 1 year. So this is typically something like for 30 days, and after 15 days, it can be renewed already automatically. And so this is typically an internal stuff. And also the time contingents and the checkpoint licenses can be created by SAP. Typically, the checkpoint licenses are created by internal tools or manually, and the time contingents can be or are created by SAP, but depending, of course, on what you want to use. And Henry, let's come back to the first use case, to the externally managed subscription. So if we say SAP manages the whole subscription, I guess you create a subscription, I guess you have some billing plan or something like this, but I would say it's time to show this in more detail, and I will hand over to you. Give me a second. So.
Yeah, here we go again. This was the last time we left our portal with our permanent license. What do we have within SAP for creating a subscription? Basically, SAP has contracts. So what we are going to do now is we are creating a sales contract with, Rüdiger said that already, with a billing plan. So therefore, we customize the special contract type, which is subscription. Reason for this is because we also want to be able to do a delivery, a virtual delivery, basically the same thing as with a standard sales order. And we don't want to have any stock management. So we created a special contract type with a special position type, which fulfills all the bits and pieces which are needed for subscription. So let's create our contract. Sold to party, pretty much the same as the last time, our customer with the number 6. The only difference to a regular sales order is we have to define a contract start. Of course, we can also define a contract end, but now for the demo, we just do the start and let it run infinite. We start on today's date, so the 24th of June. Then again, we need a material, so we already prepared one again. This is for subscription. Target quantity, and oops, here we go. Target quantity, order quantity. If I press enter, I come to the, okay, it's rule-based. I come to the Characteristics again, same as with the standard order. We can use characteristics, we can use configuration, but we don't have to. So what do we do with characteristics, or what do we do with the configuration? You could basically change or define your license a little bit more precise, like to how many sensors the PLC is allowed to talk to, or stuff like that. But for us right now and for the demo, we don't need any characteristics at all. We just jump to the next screen. Dates are being calculated for the rule. So basically, that's it again. When we take a look at the item itself, we can already see there is a billing plan. In this case, it's a monthly billing plan. This is just for demo purposes. Of course, there can be any other period, like quarterly or yearly or whatever. And as we can see, since we already are on the 24th, so for June, it's not that the billing value is not that high, so it's only 46 euros in this case, and for all the other months we are straight up to 200. So basically that's it. That's the whole thing we have to do for creating a subscription the first time. So I do the save. So when I save the subscription has been saved, I can go back to the portal and take a look what changed here in the portal, just doing a refresh. What I can see here, now I have a license subscription. Again, license itself is within the ticket, purchased on today. And as you can see, end date and also cancellation until it's also today. This is because we just created the license, but since we didn't invoice it yet, so we didn't create an invoice yet, it's basically a license which is just valid on the same day, which is in this case the 24th. So what we have to do is we have to invoice this. So we go back here and go to change sales contract. Here we have our sales contract again. Also the details, same thing as we have seen in the order within SAP. We have here, let's take a look at it. We have again, within technical objects, we have a serial number, or a serial number has been created. So this material is also serialized. And if we take a look at the serial number, it's also a full-blown equipment. And here we can see on the location our ticket again. So same thing as in a standard sales order is also accounts to a subscription. The equipment is the object within SAP which represents the license. So let's go out here again because we want to, I want to terminate here. And here, oops, I have to step in here. So what we do now is we are going now to do a billing just for 1 month. So we select the date here just for the 1st of July. So billing will be created as we have seen before with just 46 euros and 67 cents for it. And if I do the save here, the next communication with the portal is established within the background. So let's just go for it. Billing document has been saved. And if we take a look at the portal, just to refresh here. So what we can see here, that now we have a subscription with this, which is valid for the first month, which is the month of July. Reason for this is, or the reason why we have chosen this date, since if you do a monthly billing, it can be complicated to do if you do the billing on the first or on the last day of the month, because then there could be a period when the license isn't, or the new one isn't activated within the customer, so the customer might have a problem. So we give just a grace period of 1 fully month, and this is why we have an end date now on the 1st of August. If we would do the billing again, then we would have 1st of September, and so on and so on. That's basically it from the subscription point of view. And as you could see, no special things to do, just regular, as we could see them here, just regular sales contracts within SAP, of course, they have to be customized up front, but from the end user point of view, it's a regular sales contract, regular billing within a billing plan. That's basically it.
There are two questions in the meantime in the chat, Henry. I think we could answer them. Shouldn't the contract start when the license gets activated instead of when the license is sold?
Well, this discussion, we have this discussion with every customer. Basically, both is possible. So from the technical point of view, we can customize the system either that or the other way around. So from the technical point, it's possible. It's basically a thing how a company applies their sales rules. I mean, you could say it that way. We sold something, we sold a license, and we sold the license today. So why shouldn't we also bill it? Because we sold it. Do we really have to care if the customer is using it on the first day? What happens if the customer is not using this license for, let's say, 3 months? We can't bill him then for 3 months. This is not a good revenue. So on the other hand is, it also depends what the license is for. So if we talk about a license which is used in like a big automated machine or something like that, of course we can't bill upfront because this thing has to be installed on the customer side. And usually the billing starts at the activation when this system gets up and running and the customer uses this system. So those are basically the two things you have to consider when you do the decision on either starting the billing at the time you sell it or start the billing at the time the system goes into, or what you sold goes into production. But as said, Rüdiger, we have this discussion with every customer.
Yeah, and I also have this discussion multiple times, and it looks like that I want to create a bill now, and I want to have the money now is more than 50% of the use cases. And from the technical point of view, I already mentioned we have the notification dispatcher, so we could send some information back to SAP that the license was now activated. And if this was the first activation, then SAP could start with the billing plan. So this is possible. And so as mentioned, notification dispatcher will definitely be one of the next webinars. I had a very interesting discussion about this topic with a customer with a very interesting aspect that he told me. And he said due to the Cyber Resilience Act, I don't want to offer updates for software which I sell now for the next 20 years. And if I sell a subscription, but the subscription was not activated, and then the user activated in 2 or 3 or 5 years, then the time starts now for providing them with the updates due to CAR. And that's why he said, I want to have this fixed end date when I sell it plus 1 year, that's it. And so that I'm sure if the date is over, I no longer need to fulfill or to provide new versions. This was one question. And the second question, I think, also fits very well to the subscriptions. Can I also manage maintenance contracts? Henry, I think this is a question for you.
Yeah, of course you can. I mean, what's a maintenance contract? Maintenance contract separates the initial bits and pieces which have been sold with the maintenance. There are basically in the field 2 solutions for that. The first one is, I have the screen still on, that's good. The first one is that you create a regular sales order for the license itself, and then create a maintenance contract just for, or create a sales contract just for the maintenance itself. This separates the initial costs of the license itself and the maintenance costs, which are usually a little bit lower, on a monthly, quarterly, or yearly basis. So this is the first possibility to solve this. The second one is doing it with pricing. But then again, as I mentioned earlier, pricing can be tough. So this can can get complicated, that the pricing in the first period is basically higher because it has to accommodate for the initial sale. And then in the next periods, it's then again lower for just the maintenance bits and pieces. So that's basically the two solutions which are out there in the field. You mentioned the 50-50 part. Here, I would say that probably 80 or 90% are going with just an initial sales order and doing a sales contract just for the maintenance.
And just in addition, from my side, so if the maintenance is also a field in the license, so we have a maintenance period in the field, and so when a maintenance contract gets renewed or gets billed, then SAP can send such a change or replace order so that the maintenance contract field is also changed or overwritten in the license itself. And so there are maintenance contracts which are just on paper, and so you sell the license. So the communication between license central or license portal and SAP is only when the license gets created. And there are maintenance contracts which have an influence on the software. In this case, every time when the maintenance contract is built, we also get a notification that the license should be changed. This do LP change license. And with this, I think I switch back to my presentation. Give me a second. Here we go. And there are three shorter topics that we just want to cover. One is the instant activation. And so we have some use cases where we got a requirement when I sell a license via SAP, the license should be activated immediately. And so especially if we speak of a delivery to user, and if we speak of a license in a cloud container or cloud light container, then every user has exactly one container. And if the license can be acted to cloud or cloud light, then we have a configuration that the license can be automatically activated in the background. So when the license is just with the assignment of the license, the activation can be done automatically for cloud and cloud light containers. For dongles and CMAC licenses, there's also the option, there's an API, so that the update can be pre-calculated, an update file can be downloaded, and then the update file can be distributed via any media, maybe for downloading, maybe on a CD, DVD, Blu-ray, where you want to deliver your software. And so also for this, it is possible to already create an update file and to deliver the update file, or to already assign this to the container. And then when the device is online, when the computer is online, the software simply checks, is an update available for me? And then the update gets delivered automatically. But the instant activation typically is something which is implemented in real projects with the cloud and cloud light container. So for instance, if you buy a predictive maintenance in the cloud and then you do something and then the user expects that he can immediately start using it. And this is why we have this instant activation. And maybe Henry, you can say something about the synchronization of the master data.
Yeah, what we have here is, or what we can do here is we can synchronize customer master data from or to SAP. So we can sync all the master data or the used master data from SAP to the license portal. Of course, there are coming bits and pieces back, like the group data you mentioned earlier in this webinar. So we can do the synchronization back and forth. Usually it's done one way. So usually it's done from SAP to license portal and not the other way around. A little bit different is item master data. We can synchronize item master data with CodeMeter License Central. And there we can see in the field a two-way communication. So some customers prefer to customize their items or create or manage their items within CodeMeter License Central and get them synced back to SAP. And some prefer to do or have the master data maintained within SAP and do the synchronization to CodeMeter License Central. Both is possible. And we can also synchronize here not only the master data itself, also like additional information like classification, characteristics within the classification. which are usually defining some options within CodeMeter License Central. The whole synchronization, again, is done in the background, so no user intervention whatsoever. You don't see any screens for that or anything like that. You just save your master data within SAP, change like the text or any characteristics, and within a couple milliseconds, this is applied to CodeMeter License Central. Therefore, you don't have to maintain two master datas, one on the SAP side or one on CodeMeter License Central, and probably the additional one for the customer on the license portal. You can maintain everything in one system, and therefore you can be sure that on both or all three systems in this case, the master data is in sync and everything is on the same value.
Yeah, and last but not least, a few words about recommended system architecture. And but I think for you as an SAP engineer, or if you're familiar with SAP, you know that there should be a development system where you can simply test some development stuff. There should be a system for testing and quality assurance, which is the same data or close data to the production system, so that you can reproduce some stuff and test in a real environment. And last but not least, of course, the production system where only the customers and the sales team or the important people should have access, while testing, maybe a few more people can and have access, and the development is just a black box or just a sandbox where developers can test and try to implement new features. With this, at the end of our presentation, there's a short summary. So we saw the seamless integration between SAP S/4HANA and our REST API endpoints. You saw not really much. I explained what we did under the hood, and Henry showed that it can be done with nearly no use or with standard user interaction in the SAP side. We saw license creation. We spoke about withdrawal and replacement of licenses. We saw subscription models, and we saw the generation of a subscription and the change of a subscription from SAP triggered. We have spoken about instant activation, about the synchronization of the master data, and last but not least, about the recommended system architecture. In the meantime, Henry, there were two more questions. I think one question you already answered. Where should I store the ticket ID?
Yeah. Where should I? We usually use the equipment. Reason is pretty simple. The equipment has all the features which are used or which can be used for a license. So first of all, it's a unique identifier. So every license within SAP is unique if we have an equipment for it. What an equipment also has, it has classification. So we can store more information from the license, like activation times, like in which container it has been activated and stuff like that within the classification. We also have the configuration. So if you use configuration within your sales processes, this configuration is referenced within the equipment. And if we dereference it on the equipment, we can also change it for further usage here. What we also have, we have the partners. So we can see on the equipment who bought the license, who is using it, or like where is it installed and stuff like that. Equipment itself can have a structure. So one equipment can be installed within another equipment. This is also very handy when we come or when we talk about modules of licenses, like you have standard edition and you buy an additional module. So we can structure the module equipment within the standard equipment, within the standard equipment. So the equipment has all the features we need to do a good representation of a license within SAP. It's not a must, so we don't have to, but as we can see on the field, it turns out the equipment is really a good piece to store all the information.
And the second question, how much time does it need to integrate SAP and CodeMeter? I think also something that you could answer, Henry.
Yeah, all questions go to me. It's nice. Well, how long does it take? Well, a short answer, that depends. A little bit longer, it depends on your license models. So if your license models are pretty simple, then the integration can be really fast. The second thing is, it depends how many parts of the company are involved in doing the definition. So if it's just a smaller project team and the decision making can be fast, then also the whole implementation can be pretty fast. Just a couple examples here. Small customer, just 2 people were defining all the licensing models, simple licensing models. So we had just 2 or 3 options here. We had the customer on the quality assurance systems up and running within 2 weeks. So that's a possible time frame we are talking about. On the other hand, we had a customer with lots of plant location where everybody on each plant had their different needs, and well, it took us nearly about 6 months to go for the first testing rounds on the quality assurance system. So it always depends. The technical part is pretty easy. The technical part is pretty straightforward. So if we are done with the definition, if everything agrees, okay, this is the business process and this is how it should be implemented, a couple days later, it's done. To come to this point where everybody agrees, this can be tough, depending on, as mentioned, first of all, licensing models and how many people are influencing.
Yeah, I just remember one project, Henry, where we had 5.5 days. It was 5 days of discussion and half a days of the implementation. So the real technical implementation, as Henry mentioned, is typically something which is done very easy and straightforward. And it's more or less the discussion about your business processes and where to put and how to do it, and not then the doing itself. With this, I see there are no more questions in the chat, so I would like to say thank you very much for being here. And I hope to see you soon in one of our next webinars. And Henry, thank you very much for this contribution of the webinar. And have a nice day, have a nice evening. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much as well for joining. Bye.